I just want to put a thought out there in regards to Jesus and the church. The church, of course, being the people, so that is us. How ourselves and Jesus relate to each other, which we do more than you would think if you have known Jesus simply and entirely through religious dogma. Now, I'm going to put something out there which some people will actually judge as being blasphemous. But in this world of pragma that I'm trying to find myself in, I know that it is a blessing to question and to theorize and not simply to be told and accept. That is the blasphemy, just being told and accept when you have free will and you are a sentient, cognizant being. Bearing that in mind, here it goes. Mary was not a virgin. Virgin in the sense we know anyway. She was not a virgin, and the Immaculate Conception was not immaculate in regards to what we have been told or what we believe. Now, before you decide to take off the video, give me a chance, let me explain myself. I am not saying that is true. I am not saying that is false. I'm simply putting that thought out there. I'm playing devil's advocate, if you like. Let's, for argument's sake, say that, no, Eddie, what I just said is incorrect, and the Immaculate Conception, as we know it through religion, religious dogma, is correct, and Mary was a virgin, as in she did not have sex in order to have the baby we know as Jesus. Let's just say that that is the case. So, for argument's sake, that thought of Mary not being a virgin and the Immaculate Conception not being immaculate in the way we think it is not correct, okay? So let's just say that it is a theory. And the reason why I want to put that theory out there is we can relate to Jesus more than you would think, or more than the church would want you to think. Now, if it was the case that Jesus was born like every other child is born on this earth, because we are all flesh, sons of man, then it would be very straightforward and easy to apply what Jesus applied to himself to yourself, isn't it? Because then we would purely accept that Jesus was man-made God. And of course, you are going to take what you take from that term. But for me, it simply is a summary of what we are here to do. We are here as men to become gods. And so let's say that is true. So Jesus' biological father was Joseph, and Jesus' biological mother was Mary. And Jesus was a boy. He was a babe, a boy, an adolescent, an adult. And therefore, he became a master when he transcended. For me personally, and for other people out there who may be wanting to study Jesus on a more esoteric, in-depth manner, they would love to hear that Jesus was actually born as we are all born. And in fact, we are all immaculate conceptions, just by the fact that it is immaculate how we are born into this world. If you look at the science, you all know. And also for the fact that Jesus did have a father part to play in his birth through Joseph, just like the rest of us do. Now, the reason why I mentioned the church in regards to the beliefs as we know them in regards to Jesus's nature is that I'm telling you that the church has made Jesus an alien, basically. We all look at Jesus as an alien. He is not one of us. He came from somewhere else, came here to save our souls, and then left and said that there will be some sort of return, be it a spirit or a second coming, whatever you want to believe in. But we all look at him as if he is an alien, something that we cannot actually get to, something that we can only look at, in awe, and that's it. That's what religion would want, and that's what religion has successfully done all these years to followers of this scripture, followers of this master named Jesus. But that thought about his nature and how he came onto this earth really is a crucial thought, because it flips the whole story. Imagine teaching people from, the age of whenever they start learning about Jesus in Bible studies and everything. Imagine everyone came to the awareness that actually Jesus came onto this earth as we all do. But what separated him from others was that he was able to transcend the ego. He was able to, you see, when he went into the desert, I've mentioned this before, when he went into the desert, people would think that there was some sort of, fantastic play and stage and the devil and him facing off and everything. Jesus was simply going in the desert to self-examine himself. Remember, he was a man. He was not an alien. He was not something that cannot be repeated. He came as a demonstration. He's a demo man. So Jesus was checking himself by going into the desert, making sure that his manly self was subdued enough in order for him to do his duty, because he was sincere. Many men have gone through the stage Jesus has gone through, and yet because they did not self-examine themselves adequately, they fell. There are many men who we can all know in history who have come to that crossroad. So that's what that desert thing was about. The point I'm trying to make here is that Jesus was a man like you and myself and every other person on this earth. And yet we are taught by the religious dogma that in fact Jesus was this separate entity in another space where we cannot connect really. And that's why religion is dead, because nobody really can relate to anything they can't relate to. And the church has not made Jesus relatable. All these stories about his nature, about the immaculate conception, the fact that he was born of just a mother and no father, etc., it all makes him obscure. And it's not to say that Jesus wasn't special or anything like that, no. The point I'm making is that we are all special. No one is more special than the other. And Jesus would be the first person to tell you that. I can guarantee that now. So in regards to the church, where they have succeeded, they have made you believe that you can only reach a certain limit in terms of your growth. And then after that, it's taken care of by Jesus or themselves as priests. And yet it's the complete opposite. You'd be wasting your life if you lived your life believing that and operating like that. So I want to put that thought out there about Jesus' nature, just for people to think. You can believe what you want to believe. If you're trapped in the dogma and you cannot even fathom that belief, hopefully one day you'll get there. But for those who are questioning themselves, those who are getting, tugged by the Spirit to open themselves up, conscientiously, they will be considering things of this nature, i.e. Jesus's nature and what he really was and who he really is. So for me, to put in summary, Jesus is like you, me, and everybody else. The difference is he put in the work to transcend. And yet religion has actually stopped us beings. Unless you're really, really steeped in your own truth and courageous and strong enough to go it alone and really do what Jesus did, the church has made people believe there is a certain level to growth, and after that there isn't. And that is the biggest deception around, because the church has stopped a lot of people from transcending and progressing to the next stage like Jesus did. That's why he came. He didn't come for fun. He didn't come to show off. He came to show us the power that is within, and he was willing to get that power and to show it to everyone else, to be the beacon of light. So we need to each be beacons. It's not any good for one to be a beacon and everybody else dark. No, we all need to light up. So if you feel that your spirituality has been curbed by Christianity, please don't blame Jesus, blame the church. Jesus many a time stated that the church would interfere with his message and would delay the ascension process. But looking at astrology and looking at the will of God, you will understand that these things have to come to pass, because it is all part of the master wheel. So, my people, don't look at Jesus as something that you cannot aspire to be. Don't look at Jesus as someone who simply came, went, and it's a movie. It's not a movie. This is real stuff. Jesus came, as many do come, to show us how we can get to where we all need to get to. But you will have men in the middle, robed men even that some will call the devil, who will try to stop that connection and growth. because we're all trying to merge ourselves with the masters, and yet we are taught consciously or subconsciously, directly or indirectly by the church to not do that. And that is wrong. And I'm going to right that wrong. And that's why I am spreading these messages and making people aware of such, because it's not everyone that thinks of such and can put out such. So I'm putting that blasphemy out there. Mary was not a virgin. And the reason why it sparked my mind to talk about this is because I was, listening to a video of someone talking about the actual term virgin. And if you look in the Greek language, which I believe it was translated from, and all sorts of other languages, it's not necessarily a woman who hasn't had sex. It is more or less a maiden, someone who is unmarried. So it is very plausible and easy to fathom that Mary was unmarried when she had Jesus, as we all do as human beings. It's not everyone that gets married and then has babies, and then you have your typical archetypal, whatever family they call it. There's a term for it in society, isn't there? Your nuclear family, that's it. Not everybody has that boring, straightforward life. There are people who hook up and have babies outside marriage. And this could be the case with Jesus and the term virgin birth. That's all. So once you start bringing yourself out of your ego and you start tapping into the other ethers and your spirit, and you actually question things, the things that are here, they actually start to come together like a puzzle and make more sense. So for anyone out there who is battling with Jesus's nature, just take it from me. I can put that on myself. Take it from me. Jesus is no different to you. You are both of the same nature. The difference is the potential. Are you going to reach the potential like Jesus did? That's all. Peace, family.